ClubHouse. So the app launched back in March. They had a $100 million valuation with 2,000 users. I've never seen anything like it in my life. They raised it. They now have over 1 million users. What are your thoughts on the app?
Okay. Let's start breaking it down, right? Like, let's not talk about the valuation, right? Let's just talk about the product, right, for a minute as a platform. I think one of my biggest issues with it is they have to figure out an effective moderation tool. Like right now, I think it's one of the things that makes me very uncomfortable on that app, in that you have a lot of people, everyone keeps talking about like, oh my God, like this person's a legend. You should just shut up and listen to them. Well, first of all, that is not the concept supposedly of what I thought ClubHouse was supposed to be, because it was supposed to be two-way conversation. So no one should be put up on a pedestal from that standpoint. Now, as far as I'm concerned, everyone should be respectful of another person's words, which by the way, never happens on that platform, which is my big problem with it. It's not about people being put up on pedestals. It's treating everyone's words. And if they are truly stating something different and important, then you give that person breath. Right? They have to figure out some level of moderation and tools to not let rooms and conversations be hijacked by conversational terrorists, right? Which happens all the time. And on a related note, even worse is I have never seen so many sham artists be like, how did that, like, it went from like, it's not even a year old and they already have like bad Tony Robbins imitators all over the place creating these fucking rooms. Like, what the fuck is going on over there? Am I wrong?
No, you're 100% right. It's the fake entrepreneurs in the game.
Oh my God. Like, and no one's calling shit. I mean, how many people, I want to know how many people have been jacked of like $500, $1,000, $10,000 to be like, I'm going to tell you how to build your business. I'm going to tell you how to do this.
You know what the craziest thing I ever heard somebody on there say? I said, we were in a big room. This was when I first got on the app 2 weeks ago. We were talking about relationship building and mentors and things of that nature. And somebody said, I don't remember what they said, but I followed it up with, one of the biggest flexes. Oh, we were talking about flexing cars and money. And I said, you know what, one of the real biggest flexes on social media is when people speak well about you when you ask them. And they turned that into some mentor debate. And they said, you should never be afraid to pay for a mentor. And I logged off. And you know why? Because they're all course sellers. All they do is sell courses.
Look, I have this one saying, and I think it's very true for ClubHouse. Not just, there's other people, other platforms. But what's interesting, and this is my challenge to founders very often when people are like, I'm going to launch a social network or a verticalized community or this or that. And I'm like, okay, I will tell you this. The way people are from an exploitative basis, if you do not provide a foundational way to monetize for the participants on a platform, they will figure out the lowest common denominator for you. Like, and that's exactly what's going on. Like, the reason people are doing that on that platform is because you haven't given them a way to make money yet. So they're exploiting it.
That's a really interesting point.
Like, I'm sorry, but nobody wants to say that, but it's probably a very unpopular opinion, but tell me where I'm wrong from that as a thought process.
No, you're 100% right. And I will give credit to the one Instagram. I don't know if you've ever seen them. You would love this account. It's called @Ballerbusters. And all they do is call out fake entrepreneurs on Instagram. And they've done it.
Oh my God, I haven't seen. You have to send that to me.
I'm gonna send it to you. They've been featured in the New York Times. They only have like 40,000 followers, but they've called out the ClubHouse gurus because they actually had there were like 10 or 20 of them that had fake blue check marks in their profile pictures.
Oh
And
my God.
Clubhouse had to make an addition. They banned the fake blue check mark because all of these scammers were claiming that they were verified on Clubhouse.
Jesus.
But this
I
account, Ballerbusters, posted about it, so credit to them.
unbelievable. I'm glad I got to look at that. That's going to be my favorite follow, by the way.
It's amazing.
I love that because I don't think, look, there's lots of potential for Clubhouse. I don't want it to be all negative, what I just said. Um, I love democratizing conversation. Technically, I think that's what they're trying to do. And I think it would be amazing to actually be able to go do that. But there's a reason that also hasn't been done yet, right? Is the amount of challenges. And I think moderation tools, far superior ones, would actually be very interesting. And that could be like, peer voted upon so that you can get like a true moderator play, and then you get a tool set that comes with it, and so on and so forth. Like you can make that very democratic, right? If you're worried about controls and it like not be driven by the platform.
Each person, when they join, they only get to speak 3 or 5 times, and a number counts down, and then they get booted out themselves by the app.
I mean, there's a billion of those, and that's a good one, by the way, right? I like what they're trying to do. I think it would be really important to open that up to a lot of people who don't have access, which I love, for information. But I think there's a lot of dangerous places there. And then my bigger concern, especially in the current context of the world, is I don't love how people get shouted down, and the very negative crowd mentality that is there. That to me is something they're going to have to think about as they scale.
Yeah, no, it's true. To speak to 2 things real quick before we move on. I think one of the positives are for people who are networking in an industry that they're just getting into. I think something like that, there's extraordinary opportunity for.
Unbelievable.
Not just right now, not just because of Clubhouse, but actually because of the mystique around Clubhouse. And what I mean by that is if there's somebody on the app who's listening, who's just getting into an industry, they could go on Clubhouse, find people's accounts, DM them on Instagram that they saw them on Clubhouse. Then there's this mutual,
Yep.
club association that opens up a very organic conversation. So from that standpoint, I think apps like Clubhouse can be extremely valuable. I can even speak to a few relationships that I've made there. On the flip side of that, I think it's very dangerous because the people who are the biggest on the app now are people who, it's funny because, I find it hard to believe that really successful people are able to spend 24 hours a day on this app talking to one another. I'm just saying. But the fact that most of the biggest people on the app are people who sell courses, who sell things that their audiences buy to support them. So them being on the app is actually them working.
It seems that a greater proportion of the people with large followings have gotten there through gamification and inorganically. It seems, I don't know that for a fact, but it seems that way. There's a lot of people on there that I think, have said some of the more interesting things, have great careers, have different perspectives. And I'm blown away at how little, not just that they participate, but how little followings they have as well. And I think there's, and look, that's up to anybody that they want. Like, it depends on if you want to sell yourself or not. Unfortunately, if that app, if it's only driven by if you want to sell yourself or not versus the quality of what you're saying, I think that's a real, I always appreciate the latter, not the former.
To your initial point too, though, once they do figure out monetization, like the reason YouTube is so successful is because they have the best monetization of any platform ever.
And that's, you're proving out my point. And that's what I don't think people, like, I'm not saying I'm the only person who has that perspective. I just haven't heard anybody else say it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think that, first of all, it would go a long way to remedying a lot of the problems that are on that app personally as well.
No, I think that's super important.